Hello everyone, welcome to my little cave here. This is Joe. This is what I'm referring to when I talk about the plane, the triangle plane in the golf swing. The pencils was fine. This is just a very simple little presentation here. Now what I want you to note is watch the rotation and watch the, now this is, just for people that don't understand, this is the right arm, that's the left arm, these are the hands, that's what that represents, and the shoulders, okay? So we're at setup right here, and we rotate back about 90 degrees, and look where them hands are. I first built one of these little contraptions, something similar to it. I can't tell you how long ago, years ago. And this absolutely blew my mind. Now look, that setup, that's a 180-degree turn. That's as high as the hands will get right there. That's the plane, that the triangle. Now we're talking about a pure mathematical triangle here. We're not talking about all the variances in the human bones, which none of them are straight. They're all curved, and it's all organic, and you know. So I understand that, but just for the basic concept of what happens to that triangle in that rotating on that inclined spindle, just the same as the human body in the golf swing. It would take a 180-degree turn with an average kind of setup to get the hands to about the same height as the sternum. Isn't that something? That blew my mind when I saw that. It just totally blew my mind. Because intuitively I knew that this, I consider, y'all hold tight, I'm going to explain a lot of what I do in the golf swing. Now this is not, I'm not trying to compare this to any other golf swing, nor do I know much about other golf swings. This is not about how well Joe Hill can swing the golf club, because Joe Hill can't swing the golf club well. Joe Hill doesn't even play golf, not right now. I'm planning on taking it back up here pretty soon. I haven't played in years. I am not a good practitioner, but this is a swing that that I have been working on for a very, very, very long time in developing for myself, because I had to figure out on my own, because I could never grasp, and my past is a long history of golf, but just average stuff, nothing notable. But I've been around golf just like everybody else. I'm no different than everybody out there playing golf. Where was I? The reason that this shocked me so much was because that's not at all close to anything like we had been taught. When I say we, just the general teaching of the golf swing. As everyone knows, and I'm the only one that swings like this that I know of. But anyway, or tries to swing this way. I am not successful, folks, at swinging this yet. I'm getting there. I have put some good swings on it. I've had 2 periods of my life when I executed this swing with abandon. I'm getting near a third. I had given up because I lost it. I couldn't get it back, lost my distance. Tried everything. I don't know, too many distractions, I guess. But that's not the purpose of this story. I just couldn't comprehend it. And trying to get this intellectual image in my mind of what that triangle is doing, because I know that this is a pure motion right here. That is a pure motion. That's basically what I attempt to achieve right there in my golf swing. Just that little arc right there. That's all I need. And I know I don't do it precisely like this, but this is what I'm attempting to achieve right here. Is this motion. I get it pretty close sometimes, and when I get it close, I'm telling you folks, this is a very, very powerful way to swing the club, because the club is basically swinging freely at the tip of that triangle. When I swing, I motor the entire swing with the thorax. I no longer call it a shoulder turn. I call it turning your rib cage or your entire thorax as one unit, with your arms remaining in relative position this way and on its plane. That's right there is tracing the plane of the triangle. And as long as you have that on plane, you've got these two opposing sides, which are a very, very powerful structure. Not just due to their strength laterally, because in this our elbows are down. So the arms cannot bend laterally. They can bend this way. They can bend up. That doesn't really hurt too much in this swing. Now Doug Toole does that. He swings up, but he rotates. If I'm not mistaken, I have to be careful here. It looks to me like he rotates his elbow out, so that when he's coming back down, his elbow is pointing in the direction of the travel of this plane. That doesn't work with this swing. Now I know there's people that do that. It does not work with this swing. I may be mistaken about Doug. I haven't looked at that in a while, so forgive me if I'm incorrect, Mr. Toole. But that doesn't work with this swing. People that do that, because you have lost your brace in the leading edge of the triangle. Because see, your forearm can't bend this way in the direction that this plane is traveling. That forearm can't bend. That line right there from the shoulder to the hands or to the wrists, relative to the direction of this triangle, is rigid. It can't bend. This one can and does. And that obviously does alter the shape of this triangle somewhat. Not a great degree. I like to think of it in terms of the triangle from the elbows out to the fingertips. That's the triangle that I'm concerned with. And that's controlled by keeping the elbows down. Now, in other golf swings, every other golf swing, this triangle, which is at setup, is a stable, solid little system right there that works well. You can sit there and do that and let that club hinge on the back of that club, and just from right there you can hit a 100-yard wedge if you get proficient at that. I've done it. Now I hit a lot of bad shots in between because I still have a lifetime full of old fields that I have not overcome completely. I'm getting a little better though. My patterns are getting better in practice. They're still not up to what I would call good standards, but they're getting better. I'll have I'll have a little fade out to the right, one of them. I'll have a little hook on one of them, but I'll get 7 or 8 of them in that 125 yard range within 5 yards either side of the target, and then I'll have several right dead on target, and then I'll have some out to that 130 and 140 range. Not as many as that 125 range, but I'm starting to put more of them out there too. I had one the other day up that same hill that was 144. 144. Tell me about it. Hey, tell me about it. I'm gonna try to get it on a good recording. But when you alter, when I say on plane, I mean on plane in all directions. That's not on plane. That's above the plane. That is sideways to the plane. When you're in some kind of position like that, that plane has got to go flat against itself, which is the most inefficient way to move that triangle. It's got to come flying down some kind of how and then get back into position. Now a lot of golfers, they have it skewed and up. It's got to get back down somehow. This all requires hinging in the shoulder joints. I call all of those 2 hinge swings. This one is a single hinge swing. Now it's not 100% because there is some, you can't avoid all hinging in the shoulders. There's going to be a little, depending on how far back you care to take it, or you're able to take it. We'll get into that in a second. You can, well, let's go ahead and talk about that. Viable range of motion. And I think this is a key source of the power that I have been achieving. My viable range of motion. My shoulders only turn about 75 or 80%, and I keep it there. I don't try to go any further. And wherever this triangle ends up with that 85-degree turn, that's the top of my swing. That's all there is to it. I rotate the thorax. I don't do anything with any of this during the swing. I just leave it alone. That is my ideal. When I say I don't do, yes I do, because I'm not a good practitioner, and I'm not proficient at this swing. I'm still trying to learn this swing, but it works. I know it works. I've done it too many times. There's no question in my mind that it works. When I'm swinging, just to help you out here, when I'm swinging, the club, I sort of try to keep it out there as long as I can. Some of the swings I've seen, I'm hinging a little earlier, and I like to keep it out there and just let the change of direction, momentum, go ahead and set that club. And I don't set it real deep. Depth of hinge is to me just about, it's another one of those things that people see other people do, and then people think that they have to do it. No, you don't do it. You don't hinge. Club hinges, and it'll hinge when it's ready to, if you let it. I like to offer, and pay attention to this tip, you swingers. I like to offer a little resistance to hinge in that right hand right there. Why? Because it keys the muscles in the direction of the hip. People who hold their hands back, they're fighting against themselves. They got a power leak already because they have to do something to get that hand down. When this club is the final link in this stable movement right here, And by the way, it don't break right in the center. It breaks to that right arm. It breaks right across that right radial bone. That's where, right here. That's where my club, right here is where it breaks at. That's the motion of my hinge and unhinge right there. And now I don't do this when I'm swinging. The club does that. Okay? Momentum of the club does that, because I'm swinging with the thorax, and that's the last link. And if you'll, and it's right down at the bottom. That's another beauty of swinging within your viable range of motion with this stable club, because you don't have much room to do much else but to return all that back down there and let that thing do its thing. Because you can speed up. If you got a good solid structure up here, you can just really lay into it, and the momentum of the club is still wanting to go back on its upward route, and you're pulling this triangle back down, and so that club's staying behind. And as you're firing that right side, because you can see in some of mine I fire a little too aggressively with that right side, but when you're rotating this torso back down, I can feel, I feel all this right here compressing against that right shoulder, and it's just ready to go. I try to lead with the left shoulder on my return, but I can feel this compression on that right shoulder. And when it gets down here, it just feels like it just goes boom. And I can feel that club feels like it's 10 foot long in my hands at that point. When I make contact with the ball, it feels like the ball stays on the club out to about here. That's what it feels like. It don't do it. That's what it feels like. And that's just from this little 75-degree shoulder turn that I make. Now here's a couple of things to note. I was taught long ago that the club's supposed to break in the middle of that triangle. No, it doesn't. It breaks out to that right elbow, right there. That's how it breaks. It doesn't break this way. It doesn't break that way. It breaks right there. Right, that's your strongest position. Right there. And when you're in that position and you're dead square on your return arc to the target, I'm telling you what, and you're powering it with those shoulders, that thing just whammies into it. These are the shoulder joints. I'm trying to get this up in the camera here. I'm not a good videographer either. These are the shoulder joints. The shoulders will move independently. The shoulder joints will move independently, backwards and forwards each. You probably got 3 or 4 inches on either, on the back, and that much on the front of movement that shoulder joint will make backwards and forwards. A long swinger will feel these joints moving. This one will move forward at the top of the swing, and that one will move backwards at the top of the swing. That's the final bit of torque that you can put on a swing, is that little bit of movement of those joints. I do not recommend doing that. In fact, there's no need in anybody going back that far. I don't think people really need to go back to 90 degrees, but that's okay if that's what's comfortable for somebody. But as long as you stay within your true viable range of motion, if you violate your range of motion, I don't know how to define this, but you stretch your muscles out. Let me put it the other way. If you stay within your range of motion and you get back here and that club is pulling, it feels like it's pulling out here. You can feel it in your fingertips, that thing pulling. And actually my shoulders, in my ideal swing, I don't do it very well right now, I'm trying, I feel like my shoulders are pulling back, restraining all of this momentum out here at the tip of my fingers. I'm trying to not let my shoulder joints be pulled forward. I want my shoulder joints on a straight line. if possible. When I'm swinging good, I feel as if I have a counterweight back here, kind of like a counterweight on an old drawbridge. That's what I feel like when I'm swinging good. I'm not swinging good right now. I'm getting some good results here and there, but I haven't done this in a long time. It's been several years, and I'm just trying to bust back into it. And with the results that I'm getting, because I had quit, I'd lost my distance, I quit, but I buckled down and I'm relearning this again, and it's working incredibly well. In fact, some of the distances I'm getting are more than when I was able to apply this fluidly 10 years ago. Well, jury's out, folks. We'll see on all that. Now, so this club is swinging freely, and I can feel it just a pulling from the elbows out, and it actually is extending all of this. I just feel like my hands are out there like that. And then when I change direction, that thing just sets, and I just bring it on down. And because I'm not doing anything with these arms, I'm powering with the torso, that club is automatically going to lag behind everything else. And it will release at the right time if you let it. If you try to control it, you're going to lose power. That's all there is to it. You cannot consciously, in any shape, form, or fashion, unless you're just doggone lucky, in my opinion, do this with your wrist at the bottom of the swing in any shape, form, or fashion. You can't do it and time it. You can't do this and time it. What happens out there must happen naturally, and because my elbows are down, that keeps me within a very, very tight range, and my hands can't rotate much. They stay pretty square. People are saying no, they don't. I'm saying yes, they do. They stay square to my arc. We'll know soon. That's my goal. I don't do it on every swing. That is my goal. I always refer to it as my goal and remind people I ain't mastered this yet, but it works. So that's all there is to it. Club starts off. I don't let it drag back like some of the old timers did. I try to keep I try to keep it I just feel it. I'm feeling momentum in the club right here, even while I'm trying to keep it straight out. And it starts breaking, I think, somewhere in here on me. And by the time I get to the top of my swing, which is about here, and I start down, that club comes on back and it stays back. Now I don't have a great depth of hinge on purpose. I like to I like to feel that wideness on that. It's hinging, but I'm not letting it get back deep. I'm resisting a little bit with my right hand, because that's like having a spring. You know what that is? That's an extra little oomph at the bottom. I'm not doing anything extra with the hand, but the hand is preloaded because I resist this backward force from the club. I resist it. I don't let it come way back like that. I resist it. Comes back about like that. That way I'm spring loaded, so that when that does let go, it's got a little extra oomph on it. What else? That's about it. If you will notice, now when I come on some of those videos, when I come through out to here, that club is still straight away. Still straight away on that plane. Now there may be a little bend in it, because I set up with a little bend in it. That don't matter. It'll be straight out, and it stays straight out all the way out to about like that, and then it starts folding up. And I feel like when that thing comes in, it's just, I don't feel like there's a lot of hinge in it. I feel like there's a little bit of hinge, but it comes in at just the right time. I'm sure I missed something and oh yes, I did miss something. Hold on. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not dragging out too long, folks. I'm trying to make this stuff short, but I want people just to understand what I'm trying to do in this swing. And I'm not bragging or saying that I'm doing it or knocking the ball this far or that far. That is not the point of this, not in one bit. I'm trying to illustrate that this thing is showing signs. I'm not saying anything yet, but it's showing signs of being being powerful. That's the hand plane right there that I refer to when I refer to the hand plane. Now, can you see that triangle just a swinging there, and that club just a swinging on the end of it? That's what I attempt to achieve in my swing, right there. And with that solid triangle and powering from your thorax, I'm telling you, you can get back to here, that little bit that I do, and you can whack it. I mean, you can whack it. And the more stable you keep that triangle, not like I'm showing in the videos. I got my shoulders coming out. I'm getting a little. I'm making improvements in it. But I don't have the strength that I used to. But I'm making improvements in it. And even with all the flaws that are in my swings right now, I'm still getting some awfully good shots out of it. And I'm starting to get a little more frequent with my good hits. Now, from day to day, I can go out and practice and not hit a thing. I just don't feel good or something. And usually when I recognize those days, I just fold up and go home, because it hurts you when you're either mentally distracted or physically not feeling well to continue. So those days I fold up shop early. But most days I can stay with it for quite some time, walking back and forth up that hill, back and forth. That's it right there, folks. That's the swing. That's all there is to it. That's what I do. Boom.